We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet So Hail, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today, we're focused on Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episodes 1 and 2, The Red Directive, and Under the Twin Moons. And I'm so excited to be joined here today with Marcelo, my pal. How's it going, Marcelo?
Good. How are you? It's a pleasure to be back here again on your actual channel.
Thank
I
you.
almost called you by
Hello,
your last.
Uncle Art.
Okay. I almost called
Oh,
you by
sorry.
your
Go ahead.
original name.
My Starfleet So Hail
Yeah.
actual, Starfleet
Yeah.
Boy actual. Yeah, either way, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's like a lag. And oh yeah, by the way, Marcelo is also marked safe. Marked safe from the baby earthquake. Marcelo also felt it. Jill, nice to see you by the way in the chat. We got folks watching today also on Twitter or X. I don't know what you call it, whatever you want to call it, I guess. And then we have folks watching on YouTube and Facebook. So say hi in the live chat and or comment below. On Twitter, sometimes we don't see it unless you're like chatting through. Like you have to click on the video and then you can chat through the video and then we'll see it. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I should do morning streams more often because our friend Amy Nelson's here. Hi, Amy.
Oh, cool.
Nice to
Wow.
see you. Very cool.
See, see what
Very
happens when we do morning
nice.
streams?
Morning streams. Maybe morning streams are good, right? So,
Yeah.
guys, tell me if I'm lagging, and also if you guys could let us know if our mics sound all right, because sometimes the levels are, off. One is too loud and one is too low, and
A little jacked up.
I know it's unprofessional to ask these things from the audience, but I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we have live listeners and that are chatting and make sure the audio is perfect for posterity, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You know.
anyways,
You know. You know.
oh, go ahead.
In all in all fairness, we should have done microphone checks before we went on, but we have an audience today, so that's what we're using them for.
Oh yay, and Father's in the audience too. So that takes me right to our next section, which is housekeeping and shoutouts. So just so you know, Starfleet So Hail, according to YouTube, like sometime around last month was our 8-year anniversary. So we've been talking about Star Trek for 8 years on YouTube and I've been chatting on X Twitter for just about as long with fellow Trekkies and Star Trek lovers. So if you're new here or you're just watching us for the first time, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with the discussions. We are part of a little informal network of other channels. So Marcelo included here. And then we have Fadri who runs Text Trek. And by the way, let me pop this up here. It is TQIF. It's a holiday that we call Thank You. It's Friday. But today is also First Contact Day. I don't want to forget that. So happy First Contact Day to everyone. Anyways, you can check out Text Trek. You can check out Trek on the Tube, Creek Fanatic, which is the Balloon Head Productions and the Red
Yes.
Wall podcast, right?
Podcast, yeah.
And there's one more, right? Is that did I get them all?
Yeah,
The Buffy.
yeah. No. So well, my primary channel is Balloon Hair Productions. So if you go over to Balloon Hair Productions, you'll find links to all my other channels as well. But I also have a podcast called Radio 5. I have the Mixtape podcast, and I produce a podcast called Stock Reality that focuses on self help and things like that.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Anyways, there's a lot of opportunities to talk about Trek with a lot of cool Trekkies out here. So check us all out. Oh, can't did I mention Trek on the Tube? I hope I mentioned Trek on the Tube.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you
our
did.
friend Movie Magic also is a friend who puts out videos. Yes.
Did you know I actually figured out who Movie Magic actually is just the other day. It's like
It's
I
also
can't
Earl
believe he
Grey
changed his
Trekkie. A lot
name.
of you guys, yeah. Or
Yeah,
Robbie,
I was
you
like
guys might know
I
him.
can't believe he
It's
changed his name. But like I'm like who the heck is Earl? Who the heck is Movie Magic? But then I looked at it, like, oh my god, it's Robbie. But he changed his
yeah.
name.
Yeah, Captain's channel runner's prerogative, right? Like I changed my
Prerogative.
name
Yeah, I
from
guess.
Starfleet Boy to Starfleet Sohail, so I
Yeah, I'm
mean-
still getting over that.
That's funny. Anyhow, so yeah, check out all that. So let's get into it. Disco is back, baby. I have to say, I wasn't expecting to be so emotional about Star Trek Discovery, being on its fifth season, but it caused me to kind of reflect on Discovery as a whole. And, speaking of First Contact Day, I think it's a good day, since we're celebrating Star Trek, to kind of remember that Discovery brought everything back. Like, I feel like, after Star Trek Beyond, other than in the theaters, Star Trek Beyond, there was like a huge gap of Star Trek on TV. And so even though it's not like, television, broadcast television, it's streaming television, it was really neat to finally have Star Trek back on our, on a weekly basis, or regular basis, I should say. And, Star Trek Discovery has been a show that has created um, a lot of discussion, I guess is a good way to put it, but controversial, in that some people love it, and then some people hate it, and then some people are ambivalent to it. But the people who hate it feel really strongly about hating it, and talk about it, really, really, as though it's like messed up their whole Star Trek or whatever. And the people who love it, uh, are baffled by this and stuff like that. So it's an interesting show, but I love that. I think Star Trek should shake things up. I think Star Trek should always push the envelope forward. I myself didn't start out liking Discovery all that much, and was worried that I wasn't going to follow the show, because I did that for Enterprise. And so
How
I,
dare you? Enterprise? You actually didn't like Enterprise with
yeah,
initial
I didn't
series?
watch Enterprise all the way through. So, but Discovery captured my heart and my attention, and I finally got what they're trying to do, and I really love it. I think it's a show that is of this modern time. I think it's a show that is trying really hard to reflect the various kinds of people, and societal challenges, and also some of the great things that we have in society today. And just like Star Trek always does, it like pushes the envelope and the discussion forward, and tries to always put a kind of hopeful and optimistic view of what the future could be. And I think Star Trek Discovery delivers beautifully on that. And that's why I'm so excited about season 5, and the way that, when we get into it, how it ties into everything. But Marcelo, what are your kind of Star Trek Discovery reflections?
Star Trek Discovery is very special to me because I remember the day when CBS released a press statement about who was actually going to spearhead this new era of Star Trek on TV, and the guy who was behind the guy who was going to drive the whole machine was actually one half of my favorite writing team of all time, Alice Kurtzman. So the fact that my favorite writer of all time, one of my favorite writers of all time, who actually uh, wrote Star Trek '09, that was responsible for me getting back in love with the franchise again, was actually going to play the Rick Berman role essentially of this new era of Star Trek. I was just so excited for it. And I remember watching the Vulcan Hello, the two-parter, coming online the next day and then being completely destroyed because I found nothing but negativity. But I remember finding this one fan who said, "Listen, don't listen to anybody else. I love the pilot. It's great. It's wonderful, and you're not alone." I felt so bad for my initial love of Discovery that I'm so glad that I found this one fan who actually made me feel okay for loving the first episode the way that I did. Since then, I have had a love and hate relationship with Discovery, but at the end of the day, I think Discovery pushes boundaries in ways that the Star Trek franchise wasn't able to in years past. And I think that this Star Trek Discovery, when you look at it, it's just fun. It's just really, really fun, and it really, really swung for the fences. It kind of didn't get there sometimes, or depending on your opinion, it got there, but it was just really fun. The cast is great. The special effects are some of the best visual effects that we've ever seen in any Star Trek show. And it also gave birth to one of your favorite Star Trek shows of all time, Picard. So if it
Yes,
wasn't for
absolutely. Yeah.
if it wasn't for Star Trek '09, this Star Trek on TV in this current iteration wouldn't exist. And if it wasn't for Discovery, Picard wouldn't exist, and Strange New Worlds wouldn't exist either. We wouldn't have Prodigy, or we wouldn't have the up and coming Starfleet Academy. So I think there's a lot to love about Star Trek Discovery, but you sort of have to forgive it its shortcomings to really enjoy it.
Agreed. And I'll go ahead and give a shout out to your guy, Alex Kurtzman, who, with his involvement from the Kelvin films all the way to here, has pretty much created this new era of Star Trek. And so, yeah, shout out to Alex Kurtzman and the team. There's so many people creating
There's
Star
so many
Trek
people.
right now. It's crazy. And as Arthur pointed out, Discovery created a new era of Trek. We'll call it the disco era. I kind of like want to call it that. It's like a weird reference to Dr. McCoy in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. but this disco era, or Kurtzman era, if you like, naming it after the executive producers, as some like to do, that has been a very cool era. I mean, look, Star Trek not just Picard, but Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Prodigy, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Did I miss anything? Oh, and then upcoming Section
Yeah,
31
the Section
and the
31.
Starfleet Academy show. So that's crazy how much Star Trek is brought upon us in this
Yeah.
era.
Yeah. Also, if I could mention one more thing, this is the first Star Trek show that I actually got to watch live as it aired with everybody else, and that is such
That is
a
cool.
that is such a unique feeling and such a wonderful feeling. And also, this era of Star Trek was responsible for me becoming an online pundit and talking about Star Trek online with such wonderful people, such as yourself.
Thank you. And that's funny. Our friend Rachel had the same experience, right? Like, I think it was her first chance to like talk to folks and Trekkies while a show was running. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
very cool. Like, there's a lot of folks like that out there that are experiencing that. And I think it's joyous. Like, I love doing it. So yeah, very
Yeah.
cool, Marcelo. Good point. Amy says, my question: why is Brian Fuller still on the credits? I thought he left a long time ago. What
No,
kind of
yeah, no.
bulletproof contract did he write
No,
with Paramount? That's a good
no.
point.
If you mind if I take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you create a show, you will always get credit for creating that show in perpetuity. And also, probably before Brian Fuller left, um, at the beginning, when Discovery was in production in season one, Brian Fuller probably worked out a deal that says, "Okay, I'm going to leave, but you guys are going to give me a nice severance package, and every episode of
Who
Discovery that
knows?
airs from here on in, you're going to give me a cut of that." Which
It's a shame that
which
he
is
hasn't
which is
written for the
standard.
show. Like, doesn't he do standalone writing? Like, he's done episodes, right? Brian
Yeah,
Fuller, like,
no,
he used to do Voyager and stuff, right? Is that right?
yeah, I think Brian Fuller wanted a particular Star Trek show that was a little bit too expensive and not what CBS wanted. I would have really liked to seen his vision, but I think his vision would have been ultimately a little bit too expensive and a little bit too vast. But if I was Alex Kurtzman, I would have invited him back to write a couple episodes here and there. Um, because
Who
that
knows?
would have been
Yeah.
fun. I don't listen. I don't know if he would have said yes or no. I don't know what he would have said, but it would have been an interesting proposition for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's interesting. Anyways, I like his other stuff that he's done more recently.
Yeah.
American Gods, was
Yeah.
a good show. I thought. I didn't finish it though. I got to go back and finish it. But I
Yeah,
liked what
and
I saw.
yeah, and he also did Pushing Daisies as well.
That's right. He's super
Wrote
famous for that.
he also wrote one of the Hannibal that was is great.
Thank you, Father. Fuller wrote on DS9 as a freelancer and staffed on Voyager. By the way, today, Father, Otoe, the company that's working with the Roddenberry Archive, they've got like a walkthrough through the promenade on DS9, which is really neat. They put out a video on YouTube kind of talking about
Oh,
it.
cool.
It's very
Cool.
neat. So go check that out. I know Father, one of his that's like his warm blanket is the promenade on Deep Space Nine, which by the way, after our animated series discussions are finished, we just have 2 episodes to go, which take place on Saturdays. We are moving to Deep Space Nine. So I'm really excited about that. Um, looking forward to talking to y'all sober about it, because I used to do a show called Drug Space Nine. So don't ask me what happened on the show. I don't remember. but anyways, let's get into the episode discussion, because we try to keep these discussions at an hour. Marcella, do you feel good about maybe doing a quick recap of the Red Directive?
I'm sorry, but my brain is hardly working right now, so you have to take it.
Okay. All right. So, oh boy, here we go. I'm just trying to my best to be quick. I'm notorious for doing these
All right.
really
Well, if you yeah, look. If you're not if you're not quick enough, I'll stop you.
let's do it together. Yeah, let's try to do it together. All right, here we go. So we start off the episode with this crazy action set piece where Burnham is basically in a spacesuit on a ship at warp, trying to trying to slow the ship down, but or get it out of warp by doing the by phasering it, and then we cut back to like 4 hours before, where we see everyone's at a reception on at Starfleet Command slash HQ, and everyone's like talking about this. I can't look at the chat right now, but Marcella, maybe you'll look into the chat.
No,
I'm getting
hold on. Let me see
distracted.
what this
My
says.
chatters are distracting me.
Let's see. Let me
But
see.
anyways, they're all hanging out, and Stamets is kind of worried about like his
Okay.
future and what he's going to be known for, because now the spore drive is lost, and this new pathway drive seems to be the way that Starfleet's going. We get Tilly back, and she's kind of like flirting with this other guy, Lieutenant Jax, or she's interested in him, at least we could tell. We get Saru and Tarina having like kind of like a romantic moment, but Saru also has to make a decision about whether he wants to join the diplomatic corps or stay as a captain
First officer, yeah,
and
or
first
something.
officer on the Discovery, of course. So he's going through that, and then we get this like moment where Burnham is handed this like infinity loop looking device, and then she gets uh, into a meeting with Kovich and Admiral Vance, and they inform her that there's a red directive, and it's highly imperative that they intercept a abandoned 800-year-old Romulan scout ship or science vessel to bring back an like a box, an artifact basically, or to see what's on the ship, because it's of vital importance to the security of the Federation and the galaxy, perhaps. Um, uh, and then what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so,
Okay. Okay. I
so
think I
okay,
think
yeah.
I think that's enough.
Ah,
I think you're good. You got it.
damn, no, I'm not gonna, don't cut my
All right.
my
Okay.
thing
Okay.
off.
I will cut you
So
off if you want to get go. Go. Go.
On the Romulan ship, they run into these two couriers, renegades, Maul and Locke, and
Bebop and
and
Rocksteady. Bebop and Rocksteady. Sorry.
Bebop
That's
and
just
Rocksteady.
stupid.
Interesting. I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
I,
Anyways, they get into a
I,
phaser fight. Maul and Locke escape with the box, the treasure, if you will, and Burnham chases them, and then we get the Antares and the Discovery in pursuit as well. And there's this whole like tension between Captain Burnham and Captain Rayner of the Antares, played by the amazing Callum Keith Rennie, who is famous for a lot of stuff, but especially for Battlestar Galactica, his character Leoben on that. Anyways, they get into this whole thing, and Burnham, of course, is trying to make sure that Rayner doesn't destroy a ship, because if you're with the shearing effect and everything of a ship dropping out of warp that fast,
really
it could
bad.
probably be really bad. But anyways, so he agrees. The ship goes out of warp, and then they're tricked because they like launch all these different kind of dummy warp flares, and they're off. So guess what? Because of that, we need someone, and we get Book back in the picture. Book quickly determines that they need to that where they need to go, which is a planet called Kumau, and that's probably where they're trying to get rid of this box. But Maul and Locke actually don't look like they're trying to get rid of the box. I think they're trying to get it open. So they're smart. They know that this Soong type android Fred could probably do it, and sure enough, he does. But when Fred sees what's in the box, this book, this journal, Fred decides, oh, this is this is pretty big deal, and so will not give up the book. So that's when Maul and Locke decide to basically kill him, and they're on the hunt. I mean, rather they're on the on they're fleeing to get away. And so Burnham and Book and Raynor, who are also on the planet trying to get the book or trying to get the artifact back, go on this huge desert chase. There's like a rock slide slash avalanche. I'm not sure. Starfleet Design on Twitter pointed out that avalanches are only with snow, I guess. So it would be a landslide, I guess, technically. But also, I wonder, on other planets, could avalanches be non-snow avalanches and stuff like that? You never know. I
It's
mean, just because
yeah,
it's
it's
on Earth, it's
possible.
called an avalanche, whatever. Anyways,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's beside the
possible.
point. So yeah, they're in hot pursuit, and unfortunately, Maul and Locke get away, but they have to figure something out because this avalanche is going at like 100 miles an hour towards a town. It's going to cause a lot of problems and destruction. So the Discovery and the Antares stopped the avalanche by parking themselves into the into the planet and putting their shields, combining their shields at full, and it works. But alas, they don't have the book. However, Culber and Stamets were able to uncover Fred's memory banks, and so they have a copy of the book. So Maul and Locke lose their advantage, so to speak, and now the Discovery crew and Kovich know where to go next, which is a planet with twin moons, which we'll get into when we talk about the next episode. But yeah, that's it. That's the summary, right? So they're on their way. Let's fly.
Y-
I think I did
Yeah, that's
a decent job.
yeah. Yeah, you did a decent job, but I forgot how long you make your summaries. I'm like, dude, that's
I
a
can't
lot.
help myself. I can't. I can't help myself.
But it's
I'm
okay. It's
so
your
sorry.
channel. It's all right.
That
It's all
was
right.
as quick as I could do.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right.
Our Martian, who usually doesn't stick around for these discussions, is wondering: Red Directive, ROFL, Red Door, Red
Red
Angel.
door.
There's a lot of red.
Red.
That's a really
A
interesting
lot of red.
thing. Yeah, I never even thought about that, but there's a lot of red references.
A lot of red.
red red references. Uh Jill, quick recap by Sohail. Yeah, right. Goes to get coffee.
Go stick your head in the sand with that. He's not gonna do a quick recap.
um anyways, so what did you think of the episode, Marcelo?
I thought the episode was really, really fun. I really liked how the episode started with Michael Burnham basically surfing on top of a spaceship, and I like how it started. It started out with us not knowing what the hell was going on, and how it shifted to 4 hours before Michael actually ended up on the ship. So we actually find out how she ended up there. And I really like the sense of finality to this episode because there's a sense that things are ending. I don't know when they initially shot it if they were aware that this would be their final season premiere ever, but this episode just has a feeling of okay, let's strap our boots on for one more final adventure. And as a guy who doesn't like endings, I kind of like the way that they're setting it up for everybody to do one last thing together and then move on and go in different directions with their life. Um, Also, I appreciated how at the end of this episode, for a couple of years now, the Discovery writers have really stretched out the overall mystery box or the overall MacGuffin that Michael and her crew are chasing to the point of madness.
Oh yeah,
And
I
I
forgot to
really, yeah,
mention the tie-in, so thank you.
yeah.
Yes, go
I so I
ahead.
really like that basically Kovich said to Michael, "Okay, I'm going to read you in because I have to at this point because if I don't read you in, you're going to get antsy and you're going to start, disobeying orders and you're going to start mucking everything up like Michael does." So I really, really like that this sort of treasure that they're chasing ties back to something that we were introduced to in
On the
Next Gen.
chase.
Right, on the
Essentially,
chase.
yeah. The
So
progenitor, the
the progenitor,
devices
thank
that
you.
they're looking for is called the progenitor device, and, it's the characters from the chase that basically are responsible for all, humanoid life form in the galaxy. So, as Kovach
Mhm.
says, me, you, Saru,
Right,
any humanoid, yeah, so
right.
we
Um,
can trace it all back to these guys.
yeah, a couple things that didn't work for me in this episode, when Michael is on the spaceship, she she has the, back and forth with the other captain, Captain Raynor, right? That's his name?
Raynor, yeah.
Or yeah, Raynor. I love their dialogue, but I think I love their back and forth sort of snapping at each other, but I really think that their back and forth snapping at each other went a little bit too long. And I kind of thought it was just a little bit unprofessional. That and Michael saying that, "Oh, I need to get rid of this quick because I have a flute lesson." I was like, "Michael, you are on top of a ship in a warp bubble. Come on, girl. This is serious. You could lose your
She's
goddamn life,
she's
and you're
she's
and
trying to
you're
keep
talking
things
about a
light.
flute lesson."
She's
But
trying to keep
but
things light. It
yeah,
reminded me of if Riker were in the situation, he would easily have just said, "I have trombone lessons," or something like that,
okay.
it makes sense.
Okay,
It's a funny I
yeah,
thought it was funny,
yeah,
but anyways,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
go on.
yeah. I mean, I mean, listen, it's a really, really, really small thing, but I was like,
That bugs me.
just Michelle Paradise. I'm a huge fan of Michelle Paradise, but I'm like, just control yourself just a little bit. And also, the final line of this episode is, Michael's famous line that she says, whenever this discovery goes to warp, and I'm like, Michael, God damn it, just you didn't have to say that. I'm like, okay, but
No,
it's
she
okay, it's
does
all right.
have to say it, it's her
Look.
trademark.
Other,
It's like
other,
if Picard doesn't say, "Make it
yeah,
so," right?
yeah,
It's
I
the same
know,
thing, it's "Let's fly."
I know. But look. Those are some really, really small gripes. And oh, I
Yeah,
have
I
another one.
get it. Oh, yeah.
And
Get 'em out,
this is really,
Marcella, get your
yeah,
gripes.
okay, okay.
I have a gripe for
And
the,
this is
next
really
episode that I wanna get out, but I'll
okay.
wait till we talk about it.
And this is kind of really petty. Well, it's kind of petty. I don't know. You'll have to tell me. But I really think that it's kind of too late to introduce a love interest for Tilly at this point. I understand what they're trying to do, but I think it's going to be very hard for the audience to latch on to this guy or latch on to this potential relationship that Tilly's going to have with this guy if they choose to move it any further. Like, if they don't develop her, throughout the season, getting up the courage to talk to this guy and eventually ask him out on a date, I will think that that opportunity is wasted by Michelle Paradise and the other writers in the writers' room for this final season of Discovery. So I kind of don't really know where they're going with that. And if I was in the room when they were breaking this episode to actually write it down, I was like, okay, I'm not sure about that. We might want to take it out, or we might want to actually write it a different way. So I wasn't really pleased the way that Michelle Paradise handled that, but that's just me.
I had no problem latching on to the love interest, at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
I thought I thought it was
Of course you
great.
did.
But also, I'm hoping that, we get an announcement soon that, Mary Wiseman will be, either
M-
lead
Moving
or a
over to
big
this,
part of, yeah, the Starfleet Academy show because she's teaching there after all. And so, maybe this could be a setup for a longer term thing. I like the character, aside from the fact that he's very attractive. I like the character of Jax. I think it's sweet how he, is trying to kind of, you know, have a relationship of some kind that's deeper with Tilly. He's just very sweet to her, and I think she really deserves that. Like Tilly's a character. Rin, who she was falling in love with, by the way, married her real life partner, played Rin, Noah Averbach Katz. Um, but that was tragic that he was just, obliterated. Like, he was just like vaporized. So I thought that was sad. And I think it'll be cool. I think I like it for Tilly. It didn't bother me at all, and I think the character is interesting. And yeah, I agree with this. Uh, uh, Amy says, wait, did I put it up here? Oh, the StreamYard's acting weird. Tilly looked radiant. I loved her drunk scene. It's warm in here. Oh wait, you're not here. LOL. Yeah, I agree. That was such a cute scene, and I do like seeing the side of Tilly where she's like really happy and kind of giddy and just like bouncy. I guess if no other word to describe her personality, but she's really sweet. I'm silly for Tilly, as they say. Uh, Jill says, I never pay a lot of attention to the season premieres because they're usually just a lot of action that bore me to death. I just wait for the second episode. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, yeah. Jill, if I could jump in here, Cap, for just a second. I really I thought this first episode was okay, but where I really got into it is in the episode 2 because I think that episode 2 was written a whole lot better than episode 1 was, but that's just me.
Jill says, if they don't kill off Raynor, I think he'd really spice up the Starfleet Academy show. His mentoring Tilly and
Oh,
Adira on the meaning of the task seems a setup for his leadership at the Academy. That's in the next episode, but we can be
yeah.
non-linear. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh
But
no,
yeah,
they're gonna.
that's actually the scene I want to talk about later. So hopefully I'll remember. But just in brief, I guess it felt a little like unbelievable to me that Tilly and Adira wouldn't have the same logic that Raynor did. So I chalk it up to like under the stress, they kind of defaulted to like maybe their usual or like a more direct line of reasoning and a more current line of reasoning. But I honestly think that between Zora, Tilly, and Adira, there's so much brain power there that it seemed a little unbelievable that Raynor needed to step in to do anything. But I did like the intention of the scene, which was to show that Raynor does care deeply about Starfleet and the mission, and will do anything when it comes to it to help. So yeah, that was my take on the scene. That was my gripe about
Yeah. Also,
it.
also, also, when I first met Rayner and seeing him argue with Michael Burnham on, on the space bikes when they were, when they were running from the avalanche, Rayner seems like an individual that would let an entire village of people expire for the greater good. Look, as when we get to episode 2, we discover that he doesn't want to go there, but I believe that he would go there if he was forced to. And I'm not sure if our Lord and Savior and Space Jesus, Michael Burnham, would be able to do that. At the end of the day, if she was put in that position.
Why do you refer to her as our Lord and Savior, Space Jesus, Marcella?
You've never, you've never heard
I thought Spock
certain
was if anyone's Space Jesus, I
Space
think it's Spock.
Jesus. No, but
I mean, he
no,
died
but
and got resurrected, right? Like, I feel like that's
no,
like
but
that would be, yeah, that would be the real Space Jesus. But I mean, just a thought
yeah,
there.
yeah. No, but no. But the reason why I say Michael Burnham is Space Jesus is that Michael Burnham is basically like the James C. Kirk of this new era of Star Trek. She's a go getter. She can do it all, which is the space Jesus or space God.
On X, we have viewer Brandon A. Coles. Thank you for watching. When the TNG tie-in was made toward the end of episode 1, I yelled in excitement like I was at a baseball game. Or a basketball game. That's very cool. Yeah, I was pretty excited too. I love tie-ins with the past. By the way, I was telling this to Marcel, but there's a point when they're showing Picard and the progenitors when Kovic is talking about it where Jeff Russo makes a reference to his theme for Picard, and I love that. I thought that was a really nice kind of touch
Yeah,
on
just real quickly on the Picard thing and Jeff Russo, I actually figured out where the inspiration for that main thing came from just yesterday, and I'm like, and
that. Oh
I
yeah, isn't
actually,
that cool? Yeah.
I actually did some research, and Jeff Russo kind of inspired the main theme Picard after the Inner Light piece of music, which I thought was very very interesting for him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got some interesting counterpoints to what I was saying. I completely bought the Rainer input with Tilly Adira Zora because it was my job in the corporate world to impart the business need meaning of the task of all these brilliant PhDs. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. Who knew how to do stuff, but not why. And then Amy says, listen, Rainer
Listen,
was right. If spun a different way, saying he's got 70% chance of it working, of course, anyone in Starfleet would do it. They intentionally spun it so he would be a good number one. Yeah, I agree. And yes,
yeah,
I heard that too about the inner light. So yeah, very
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Also,
interesting. I guess I can reevaluate my view on that a little bit. But go ahead. Sorry,
yeah.
Marcel.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Cap.
No, you're fine.
Also, I had no, I didn't see that whole thing coming with Rayner stepping in for Mr. Saru after he does what he does. So that was something that I was not expecting.
What did you think of the new characters, Maul and Locke?
I First of all, if you actually go and listen to my reviews for these episodes on my channel, I could never get their names right. So in my
So you
reviews, yeah, yeah,
what
in
did you
my reviews,
call
if you yeah, in my reviews on my channel, shameless plug, if you go and watch those, I call them, Bebop and Rocksteady because I
Oh,
couldn't
that's
get
right.
their
You do
names right. I
that.
could but I look,
Well, now
I,
you have it up on the screen, Marcellus. You have
yeah,
no
so
excuse.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Maul and Locke.
Just read it. No, but they are very interesting to me, and I wonder if the whole reason that they're after this thing from from the makers of the universe is, I wonder if one of them is potentially dying, and that's why they're after it.
Mm.
I don't think they're after the this MacGuffin for financial gain. Even if they say they are, I think that there's a deeper reason to why they're doing what they're doing, and I think that Maul is going to eventually turn coat and betray her lover and go on the side of Michael and our beloved crew, because I think that when Maul and Locke get there first, Maul is going to be so desperate to actually get the MacGuffin for his own selfish reasons that is going to sort of pull them apart.
You've got him backwards, by the way. Maul
God
is
damn it!
the the humanoid, the
Yeah,
human-looking
yeah.
female character, and
Locke is
Locke
the alien.
is
Locke
the
is the
alien.
alien.
Which, by the way, what do you think? There's a discussion going on Twitter speculating as to what species Locke may be. I think he's a melanoid slime worm like Murph, and I think maybe Locke could be related to Murph in some way, because I have a theory that melanoid slime worms take on characteristics of whatever they're most around. So yeah. So my theory is that Locke is a melanoid worm like Murph. What about you? I think that's gonna be a
Yeah,
wrong theory, by
yeah.
the way.
I actually didn't put any actual thought into what species Locke could be. I just thought he was a really, really cool, sort of greenish sort of alien guy. But who knows? Who knows? Your theory could be right.
Amy's asking, do you think Maul and Locke will be short-lived like Vedic was in Picard season 3? My guess is that we're going to see
No,
them survive the season. I don't think they'll be short-lived. I think they'll both survive is or I guess
mm-mm,
it's more my hope. And I'd like
no.
to see, I really would like to see Maul. She seems like she's got like a huge chip on her shoulder. She seems really like kind of disenchanted with the state of her life or whatever, and she's got some kind of, definitely got some kind of, she's on some kind of like mission to correct a wrong, I guess, that was done to her, is the impression that I get. So I hope that the character kind of comes into a feeling of, trust and safety, and I hope that that happens through book, because as we saw in the 2 episodes, book definitely knows who she is, and there's a tie-in
Ugh,
now
I
to Cleveland Booker, his
yeah.
mentor. So she's the daughter of Cleveland Booker. Whoa, you just like I just had a visceral reaction to that. But but yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
I believe that one of them is going to die. I don't believe that I don't believe that the two of them are going to get through the season alive. I think that the that's going to go is going to be Locke, and I think Maul is going to, again, like I said before, um, go on the side of Michael and our beloved crew, and also I think that she's going to rediscover the happier parts of herself through Cleveland Booker. The reason why I guffawed when you said when they finally made the connection between Maul and Cleveland Booker is I kind of, just real quickly, I really didn't like what they did with Cleveland Booker last season. So I really hope that they handle his I really hope that they handle his involvement in this final storyline for the final season of Discovery a lot better than they did with Tarka in last season, because last season made me, oh, just made me really angry.
Well, let's talk about Book. He's back. So, what did you think about like the circumstances that brought him back to Discovery, and how did you feel about like him and Michael and kind of like that scene in the desert where it seems to me like they're breaking up, right?
Yeah, I thought it was very cool, and I really really appreciate that the writers didn't, have them miss each other and have them, basically jump their bones the second they saw each other. I really like actually that scene in the desert that you mentioned where they actually talk about what has happened between the two of them, and they actually sort of like analyze the distance, and they actually say, oh, I wanted to call but I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, and then Book says, I wanted to call but I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. So I really like that both of them are at an impasse, and I really really hope that sort of they stay that way. And I also hope that maybe at the end of the season they kind of find a way to reconcile. But if they don't reconcile for whatever reason, I'm okay with that. Um,
I love Book as a character, and I'm so glad to see him back. And it is a plausible reason. Like it makes complete sense. And I like that he's so kind of like he still feels guilty for what he did. I know it wasn't like something we were hoping for his character, but he does have that now under his like kind of, it's something he did, whether he was right or wrong, he did it through, passion. And I think for me, I think it's justified that he lost his mind a little when his whole planet was destroyed, so he didn't make really the best judgments, calls or whatever. But I really like seeing him kind of repentant for that, or I should say better like kind of re-evaluating that. And
Rehabilitated,
like,
right?
yeah, well, he wasn't, I don't think Book, I think Book was temporarily, you know, insane. I think he's just such a good guy, like that he can get caught into like a like a spirit of something, like the spirit of what he was doing was good. I think his intention was
Right.
good. It just
Yeah.
happened that it wasn't,
Yeah, but
whatever.
also,
But I do love seeing them back together. They are my favorite couple, I think, in Star Trek. I don't remember I don't remember. Maybe Cassidy Yates and Cisco were really great. We'll get back into that when we rewatch TS9. But I just love Book and Burnham, even if they're not together as partners. Just seeing them together is really nice, and I echo what Joanne's saying. I think they will reconnect. I'm hopeful. I agree. So yeah.
I think Book was blinded by his grief, and that's why he couldn't see which side was up in the last season, which was really really unfortunate because it drove me mad how the but enough talk about that.
I like this. Amy says, if Saru gave Burnham a second chance, if Burnham is giving Raynor a second chance, then so can their relationship get a second chance. Here, here.
That's
I
true.
agree
If they get
with that.
if they get back together, they're gonna get back together at a wedding reception. Mark my words.
Who's well, Saru and oh, that's right. Saru and Tarina's wedding might
Yeah,
take place this season.
yeah,
I didn't
man.
even think
Yeah,
about that. We might actually go to a wedding. That would be
we're gonna
very
go to a
cool.
wedding,
We are
and I
gonna go
bet
to.
you,
I have a feeling. I predict we're gonna go to a wedding. That's awesome.
and I bet you that somebody at that wedding is going to sing, and it's going to be Blue Skies. I bet you.
Blue skies shining on me, nothing but blue skies. Which, by the way, today here where I live, there are just gorgeous cloudless blue skies. So thank you
That's
up north
awesome.
for the wonderful cold front that you guys sent to us. We really appreciate it. This is actually something I do want to is COVID human discuss. Ha. So what?
Um,
Well, he says uh humanoid. We know he's humanoid for sure. He acknowledges that he considers himself part of the progenitor's legacy, like him, he's a humanoid. So is he human or is he another species? Like, what do you think?
I think he's a bit of both. Also, when I think of Kovic, all I think about is David Cronenberg. So because Kovic is David Cronenberg, which is the funniest
Right.
thing ever to me that David Cronenberg is actually in Star Trek. But I think he's a bit of both when it comes to it at the end of the day. And also, I love how Canadian he is when he speaks. Like it's like over
You
the
think
top.
he's like I don't
Yeah,
detect
yeah,
any specific
yeah,
Canadianness
yeah,
from him, but
yeah,
it's all right.
yeah,
I mean, maybe I'm
yeah,
wrong.
he's so Canadian.
I don't know. Maybe I have too much of a stereotypical idea of how Canadians should speak. I do have Canadian family, by the way. I should reconnect with them and analyze their speech patterns. Um, we got a bunch of cool folks joining in the live chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for showing up. Ask us questions. We love we love to think of these discussions as not just Marcel and I, but we love to include y'all, whoever's in the live chat. So thank you. So I don't know if he's human or not, but I do wonder a lot about him. I hope they keep his mystery intact, though. What do you want to know exactly what Kovic does, Marcel, or are you happy with kind of like where we don't quite understand what his place is in the hierarchy of all of Starfleet and Federation?
No, I'm really comfortable with the writers keeping Kovic's backstory, ambiguous and letting us make it up. Because I do believe that all questions don't deserve an answer. And with Kovic, since he's so off the wall, kind of Cronenberg crazy, I think that fits his character.
Right on. What do you guys think, audience? More, you want to know exactly what's going on, or keep it as a mystery? Let us know in the chat. Oh, also, my text message audience is reminding me to let everyone know, if you could just if you're on YouTube, smash the like button, or Facebook. I don't know on
And the share button as well, too.
and the share
The
button
share
on
button.
X. You can share the stream as well if you're watching on X. That would be really awesome, and hit the like on that as well. We'd appreciate it. Oh, and nice to see we have a text message audience. Our text message audience is friends of mine who watch the show, who have my phone number. I'm sorry, I don't have a phone number for people watching
Oh,
that to
wait a
text
minute.
message.
Could I actually? Well, no, I'm not gonna try it on the air, but maybe I'll try it
You're
when
gonna
I'm not
text me. You're
on the
gonna
show.
be part of the
I
text message audience. Is that
I
what's
don't
gonna
know. I
happen?
should try it. I should try it. I should text you going. I should text going. This host kind of sucks. I want somebody else.
Amy says, I'm not the biggest fan of Kovic. When I saw him, I just rolled my eyes. Oh, him again. Don't have me. I've seen a couple of folks that don't like Kovic. I don't get it. I really love the character, so I'm a little
Yeah,
serious. But
yeah,
there are folks that appreciate or like uh want more professional actors kind of critique his acting style,
yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
love it. I think it's great that he's just not an actor. It's like, to me, it's
yeah,
like not everyone on a show has to be a trained actor. And he's a director, so I think he knows a little thing or two about performance. And it's just a matter of preferences and style. So I hear you, Amy. What were you gonna say, Marcelo?
no. I mean, I will acknowledge the one of the one of the giant reasons why I like Kobe so much is because he's David Cronenberg. But if he was just another typical actor, I think that I would probably maybe have some of the issues that Amy has with him.
Joanne says, keep the mystery. And Jill says, I don't want Kovic explained either, but I'm certainly enjoying the speculation. Yeah, me too. I like all that. And Kovic is Jill's favorite character, so that's pretty cool. I hope they go to Starfleet Academy. It would be really cool because he seems to be involved. He got Tilly the bug, put the bug in Tilly's ear to be a trainer or
Maybe
at the academy
maybe
and stuff. So yeah.
maybe he is actually the headmaster at Starfleet Academy, if that's even a
Oh,
thing.
like Picard, like the chancellor or the commandant or whatever it was, like the
Yeah,
chancellor
yeah,
of
yeah,
Starfleet Academy.
yeah.
I'd love
Maybe,
that. He doesn't wear the
maybe.
little badge, but in he does have the regular, I guess, Starfleet badge. But that's interesting.
Right, it's possible.
Arthur says, uh, Uncle, I like calling you Uncle Art. Sorry if that's embarrassing. COVID should be at least a guest lecturer at Starfleet Academy from time to time. I agree. Also, Starfleet Academy poses a lot of awesome opportunities for guest lecturers from all time periods of Star Trek as hollows. Who knows? So we'll see what they end up doing. Joel says, I've always been a huge Cronenberg fan, and he is always a treat. Keep the mystery. And let's see here. We got Kovic's first scenes in 305, where he plays with Giorgio like a cat with a mouse, is one of my favorite Discovery scenes. And PJ from Boatwreck says Kovic has the personality of green wallpaper. That's
Of
an
a green
interesting. I'm trying to think of
wallpaper.
what green
Well, actually,
wallpaper personality might be.
no, no, but I no, no,
Like,
no. Green wallpaper. But but I think PJ
that's
is
like
trying to say
green
that.
screen, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
sorry, go
no, but
ahead. I'm just.
I I think I think PJ is trying to say that the way that Kovic's character is written is he speaks very, very flat. So he doesn't really emote that much. So that's what I think PJ means by green wallpaper.
I get it. That's cool. Is there anything else about the red directive that we didn't talk about or discuss before we move on
Uh,
to Under the Twin Moons?
w- um, no, I think we're good.
All right. Well, Under the Twin Moons, I know we talked about it already while we were talking about the Red Directive. It's fine. They were both released at the same time, so that's why we're doing this discussion as a coupled discussion. But what did you think of this episode overall, Marcelo? And audience, let us know what you thought as well.
This episode rules so hard. And the reason why it does is because this episode focuses primarily on a relationship between Michael and Saru. And I love the fact that basically this is Saru's final bow as a member of the Discovery crew and as Michael Burnham's number one. And it's basically them just going to a planet to find a clue that will lead them to the progenitors. And I love how they take the time to just basically chat about how far they've come as individuals and as characters while they've worked with each other for 5 years. And I absolutely love it. And if I didn't love Discovery so much, and if I didn't like these actors so much, I don't think that it would have worked for me. But it was so wonderful watching how far these characters have come.
And they were managed to, as Joel says, they managed to have like a Raiders of the Lost Ark feel to it too, which
Yeah,
is
they
like,
did.
yeah, it was very cool. I loved all that.
They did.
The writing, the action, like everything was so tight. And it's a shame because this feels like Discovery, and I've seen folks express this, like Discovery might finally be hitting its stride, so to speak, and kind of like ready to like go even further, and it's the last season, so I'm so upset about that. It's like kind of a bummer because like they're really firmly established. As you said, the characters are great. Saru and Burnham were great. Yeah, I like this episode a lot too. I thought it was really fantastic. um and we got let's see, Under the Twin Moons is one of Discovery's best overall. Without that scene, Joel, I might not have. Oh, that's reference back to to Kovic. um
Mm,
Jill says the same writer of Twin Moons also wrote Forget Me Not, episode 304, another of my favorites. Oh yeah, it's a good one.
mm.
Amy says, was anyone else getting the Matrix vibe with Kovic and his Infinity transport special room area? I totally got the Matrix vibe, like when you go into that room, where Morpheus takes Neo. Yeah, 100%.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah. The white room. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was from Red Directive, but yeah,
Red
exactly.
director. Yeah. Also, I really like that while Michael and Saru are basically in the woods or taking a walk in the woods, they come across these robots that try and kill them. And I think that that is a reference to the TNG episode where Riker and the
I
crew
totally thought
go.
about that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Arsenal of Freedom, Echo
yes,
Papa
Cardinal Fleet. Thank you.
units or
Yeah.
whatever they were called. I remember the name for some
Uh
weird
huh.
reason. But yeah,
Yeah,
100%
that's
seemed
a great
very
episode.
similar to that. Yeah, I agree. What did you think of the inquiry rather, the Rainer's
I
inquiry scene?
love that. I love that. I love that. And you know how you know why I love that because I really don't like how some characters within Discovery do awful things and they get away with no
And get away with
consequences.
it, in other words?
Yeah.
So you love the justice more so
Yes,
than
I
me,
love the
like, so
justice. I
you would
love
approve of a permanent courtroom
Court
drama
Martial.
series, courtroom drama series
Yeah.
of Star Trek.
Yeah. And and he's not kidding, folks. If Alex Kurtzman and the powers that be at CBS gave me a JAG version of this new iteration of Star Trek on TV, I would be all over. But I really love the fact that in this episode the inquiry holds Captain Rayner responsible for the actions that he committed on the planet, and they really make him think about whether or not he was in the right or he was in the wrong. So I just love it.
This is a really good question, Jill 47 poses. Do we want the Federation president having judge authority, no separation of powers? I wonder,
I like that.
what is an inquiry like? She was definitely serving as the inquirer, like, but what is an inquiry really? It's not, I don't think it's a formal hearing or any kind of like
No,
judgment necessarily. I
it's
think
a
they're just
it's a
gathering,
pretrial.
yeah, kind of gathering evidence. But it is weird to me to see the president kind of being the inquirer, or like what a judge might do, in an inquiry. So that is a really good point. It's strange. 32nd century Federation Starfleet is very different from what we're used to, but there's a lot of things they intentionally have left out so that we have to try to figure out. But what I have seen is that or what I can remember is I think Vance talking about how basically Starfleet and the Federation were all just in the same building with, in that station, because post burn the Federation had kind of shrunk down so much that there wasn't really, a place to separate them physically. And so it's very weird. It is a weird way. There's a lot of mysteries about how it works, but I also kind of like that because I don't expect governments to work the same 900 years into the future. And also, sometimes governments fall into these bad kind of modes of operating, and so I do like that they're post burn and they're getting out of that. So these are just kind of residuals of that, but it is an interesting thing to look at. I mean, in real life, we're kind of facing a lot of unprecedented situations where it seems like protocol is being ignored or thrown out the door or rewritten. So it's cool to have these discussions and like wonder, because I think it prompts us to also wonder, are we changing too much in positive or negative ways in real life as well? So it's a good topic. What do you think?
Yeah, I think politics in science fiction mirrors the politics of the day that we're living in. And not to get too political here, but the actual political climate that we have now in the real world, it's a mess. So seeing a seeing a science fiction political government work somewhat to the way that it's supposed to be designed is just an absolute pleasure for me.
Oh, this is interesting. Joel says
What
that they lose their lie detector chairs. Remember they had the lie
they
detection
do?
technology? Yeah, it was like that hollow. Remember that guy in season 3 that could like tell if you were lying? And I think they did lose it, which is actually a positive sign towards progress back to like where you have to kind of like trust a little and read the individual and go by
Yeah.
like the evidence rather than a device that can just kind of hone in on all that stuff. And maybe Raynor's species is not susceptible to lie detection, so that could be a thing too. Who knows?
Right. Also, I really appreciate that the Federation president was basically running the inquiry because it would make sense why she was there because she's everybody's boss, so she has to be there. And if somebody else ran the actual inquiry, I think that the president wouldn't be able to get a full idea of what she wanted to ask Rainer and Michael in that moment. Also, I really love Michael's behavior in the inquiry because I do feel in previous seasons Michael would probably try and throw Rayner under the bus or hold him more accountable for his actions, but I really felt that Michael was trying to downplay his actions and trying to support his actions to the best of her ability. And that's something that I don't think Michael from a couple seasons ago would have done. So I think that shows I think that shows growth on her part. Can't hear you. You're muted.
I said, interesting. I was like, I don't know if she would have thrown him under the bus previously, but I think she was like so confident this season, like the way she was just so confident. And I liked that energy. The Captain Burnham energy is really great.
Right.
And Sonequa, I think she's in her, like in
Prime.
her,
Yeah.
like her, yeah, like the seat of her power as an actor is now being shown because the character reflects her own confidence, and I really like that a lot. So yeah.
Mhm. Also, I do feel that Captain Raynor was trying to blackball himself because I do think that at this time he was aware that what he did on the planet was a mistake, and he was trying to pay for it in the deepest, darkest way possible, and that's why he kind of went mad and tried to get himself, thrown out of the inquiry.
Hey, I just want to take a moment to shout out to our friend Cake is Eternal. Hey, folks, just stopping by to say hello. I miss my Star Trek buddies. Cake, sending you big hugs, and thank you for stopping by and commenting. And we really appreciate it. And we miss you too. And can't wait till you get. So, we're going to start doing these morning Star Trek discussions. So, if you're around, you can hop on and see us as well. Um, uh, Going back to Captain Rayner for a second, I thought it was cool to hear about his friendship with Admiral Vance, and like he he he's a really interesting captain, I think. But I also think that yeah, he's kind of burnt out, like, and he's part of this like kind of he's still kind of operating as if the burn in burn times, if you will. You know what I mean? Like he's still kind of operating, and so it's sad to see that he's being forced into this kind of retirement, but I love that Burnham sees through all his kind of like his or sees through the chip he has on his shoulder, so to speak, and sees that maybe it's not time for him to retire. Maybe he can have another chance, and I really love that as well. So yeah, I love Rainer as an addition to the thing. A lot of folks were hoping, I saw on X in the discussions that maybe Book would be the XO, but I really think that would he's not
Oof.
like cut out to be an
No,
XO. I
no,
think
and
he's good.
also
He's really good, but he's not like he needs a lot of experience. I think Rainer was kind of like the perfect and obvious choice for Burnham.
people. Book is not Starfleet, so Book being XO would make no sense whatsoever. Are you guys crazy?
Well, some people, it's not. I mean, Starfleet doesn't like. I think. Do you remember the uproar that Saru made Tilly and Ensign,
Oh
his
yeah, that's right.
XO?
I remember
So
that. Oh
like,
my
start.
god.
I don't think there's any set rules on who your XO can be. I think it's just the person
Okay.
most qualified to be
Okay.
your number one. You know what I mean? But that being said, I think Rayner definitely is the right choice here.
Right. And also Saru basically said in that wonderful possible final scene between Burnham and Saru in his quarters, he actually wished for Michael to get someone to work with her that isn't a yes man. And I love what Rainer says to Michael before she leaves the room that they had the discussion in. He goes, "I'm not a, I am not a yes man," and she goes, "I know, I need that." And I think that's absolutely
Yeah.
great. Oh my
And
god, I'm getting
uh
sorry.
we haven't seen two captains, like one being the commander of the ship and one being the XO since
No,
Star Trek 2, right? Like it was Captain Kirk and Spock was also a captain, but he was
right.
also the first officer of the ship. So I liked that idea. And then Saru, of course, the next time we saw was Captain Saru and Captain Burnham, and now we have Captain Rayner and Captain Burnham. So I think it's interesting that Star Trek Discovery kind of has these two captains, and I agree with the point where it's kind of great, right? Because you have a fully fledged captain that you can rely on to like
Yeah, and
command your
yeah,
ship while you're on an away mission or whatever, or vice versa. You can send a very accomplished captain down on the away missions as well.
yeah. I'm so happy that you said that because with Rayner being a full captain and having so much experience, he can basically babysit Michael's ship while she goes off and does her Kirk thing. Right, which you know she's going to do because Michael is always the first one to jump in an
She
effort
loves
to
it,
keep
yeah. But
other people
captain's
out of danger.
prerogative, right?
Yeah, of
Captain's
course,
prerogative.
of course.
And really we don't know how we know that Jean-Luc kind of like let Riker do most of the stuff, but I haven't seen that in any other really all
Yeah,
captains
but
kind of want to go down and even though
yeah,
it's
but
not protocol or whatever, they all kind of
yeah,
want to be in the action.
y-
Archer was definitely a captain. Was Janeway? I have like
oh,
Voyager's one of my
Janeway,
blind spots, but from what I
Janeway,
can remember of what I've watched so far, Janeway likes to go down too. But she's also a very science
yeah,
based captain, and she does stay on the ship if I recall correctly.
yeah, but Janeway is a boss. Janeway is the type of captain who
It's true.
Janeway is a boss, and Janeway is the type of captain that will shoot first and ask questions later. Um, no, but just one quick word on my favorite pairing of all time between captain and first officer. With Riker and Picard, it took a long time for Riker to get comfortable with letting Picard do his thing. Early on, like in season one, it was firmly established that Riker had this specific way of handling taking care of captains, and Picard sort of acquiesced to his request. But once they got comfortable with each other in subsequent seasons, Riker sort of let Picard do his thing because Riker could trust him in that way, and he knew that Picard wouldn't put his life in uh, in 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 mortal danger. You know,
Absolutely. What did you think of Action Saru as a name and also just the action that Saru did in this
that
episode?
was awesome. That was awesome. The fact that they had that giant argument and basically Saru basically said, "Listen, my number one job is to keep my captain safe and to make sure that you get off this planet alive." And the fact that Michael was arguing with him and saying, "No, no, 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 no. If you die, the president of Navarre is going to kill me." I actually just I love that. I absolutely
Yeah.
love that. And it goes back to something that Saru told Michael in the pilot in episode 3 of Discovery. He basically said that I will do anything to make sure that my captain stays safe. So I will do the one thing that you failed to do with Philippa Giorgio. I'm paraphrasing, but I love how that decision by him sort of paid homage to what he initially said to Michael in episode 3 of Discovery in season 1.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, if
That's
yeah, yeah, if you remember that, yeah.
I love it. I changed my name on Twitter to Action So Hale.
Really? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. I have to look
Yeah,
that up.
when you get a chance, check it out. Action So Hale. I want to be known as Action So Hale for
Yeah.
um
Hoorah!
I also liked all the like the planet and like the art. They did a really good job with the sets, with the artifacts and like the statues, the ruins, if you will, and like kind of the city. These landscapes have been great. Like last episode, Red Directive, that that town kind of had TOS vibes with those like, like matte painting TOS vibes or whatever. And this one gave me like TNG vibes, but also TOS. I don't know. It's very cool. Star Trek Discovery's art
Yeah.
department does a really great job.
Also from a writing aspect, I really like that Sarun Michael basically gave the audience a lowdown of Romulan culture and how they sort
Oh,
of.
that's right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I really appreciate that. I mean, essentially, thank you, Boatrek, for reminding me of this. But the speech that they give on how Romulan culture works is the speech that they gave in,
Picard.
I believe it, Picard. Thank you.
Season 1
So
about the false door and all that.
yeah, the
Yeah,
false story. Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
going back to something we learned about the Romulans rather, I think, in Picard season 1, yeah.
Yeah. So the way that the writer repurposed that speech from Picard and used it to such dramatic effect in this episode, I thought was great.
Very cool. There's a little bit of buzz in the chat about not getting to know the bridge crew. We got a couple new members of the bridge crew, it looks like, as well. But,
That
I kind of think at this point it's very I mean, they always said, even when it was kind of like in the concept, like early phases, they always said that this show would be different in that it served a central
it's
character
yeah,
and that
it's
it was
Michael's
not gonna
show.
be well, yeah, it is, but more specifically, just the structure of the show's never said it's gonna be anything other than focusing on the central character, and we have branched out. We do now have what I would consider an ensemble of sorts, right? We have, a bunch of main characters now that we follow regularly. We it's still very Burnham centric, but we definitely know Tilly very well. We definitely know Saru very well. We know Stamets and Culber very well, and we definitely know more about Detmer and Owo, and I feel close to those
Not
characters.
enough. Not enough.
I know, but you know what? Discovery's only got 5 seasons, and
I
each
know.
season
I
is
know.
less than like traditional seasons, so we don't have just the episodes to be able to like do it. But again, the show's never. I don't think the show's. It is. I personally, as a Trek fan, love that ensemble nature and like knowing more of the bridge crew. But this isn't unlike TOS. I feel like the formula in TOS
No.
is very similar. We would have like rotating
I
other
Yeah.
bridge crew members and stuff like that. And then there was a cast of about like 7 people that were who we focused on, and they got varying degrees of focus. Like we all wish to this day that we got more Uhura. We're finally getting it in Strange New Worlds. So who knows? Maybe Starfleet Academy will have some of these characters that were like not as prominent in Discovery show up and be more prominent in Academy. What were you gonna
You
say?
know
I didn't.
what?
I knew you
You
were
know
trying to
what?
say something.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I completely disagree with you because
that's
I
okay.
really no, it's okay. It's fine. I
Yeah.
really think that, like you said, Alex Kurtzman said from day one that this is going to be a really, really a show centered on Michael Burnham, and we're going to focus a little bit around the people around her that are most important to her. But I really feel that Alex Kurtzman and his writing staff really missed an opportunity to sort of do a little bit of a Michael Pillar thing, but also, but also focus the story around Michael Burnham, but use the characters that we want to know like a little bit more about. Like use Awoshikam, use Detmer, use Reese. They could have inserted those characters into Michael's story a little bit more, so we could learn a little bit more about them within the context of Michael's story. But the fact that they didn't do that was just a sort of symptom of they didn't, they didn't want to. I mean, if they wanted to do it, they could have done it. Um, a moment where I thought that would have worked very, very well is when Ariam died. If they would
Mm,
have if they would have fed out Ariam's story a little bit more before she died, I would have actually felt something when Michael was clunking her head up the a glass there before Ariam, met her demise, unfortunately. But that's just
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you.
but
I
all,
know. I
yeah.
know.
Also, one more thing. I do think Starfleet Academy is going to take that more traditional Michael Pillar approach to Star Trek, in that every episode is going to focus around one individual. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong.
Books, Past, and Mall, you kind of groaned about this earlier. You want to elaborate
Yeah.
on your feelings about them?
Yeah, look. I really hope that with Maul being connected to book, I really hope that um the writers have a better way of telling how book is going to interact with Maul's story in this season, cuz I didn't like the way that they handled book being involved with the story last season with Tarka. And the main reason why I had a problem with that is because Book was so blinded by his grief. But I think that Book's involvement in Maul's story this season will sort of remind her that she has a better choice, that there's always another way to achieve what she wants. Whether that's getting a cure for the person that she loves, vis-a-vis Locke. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to ultimately, feed out as we go through the episodes here.
I'm very intrigued by this. I've always wanted to know more about Booker Cleveland, the mentor that passed his name on to Book, and I think it is an interesting twist that there's this character that's a daughter, and I like what Book said about like technically she might be the only family I have, so he's already sees her as like his family, and um in general, I think that, I think there's like something also. I heard Joanne Robertson, maybe it was, or maybe it was our friend Krista talking on the salon last night, which I forgot to point out in the shout outs. By the way, check out the salon as well. Great track discussions, and Strange New Pods, pretty cool too. We're just going to randomly shout people out here. Might as well throw in Jesse
And
Gender
actually,
and
yeah,
Clone Star.
yeah, actually, Botrek is really good too. He has some really good discussions.
Yeah,
You
check
know,
him out.
yeah, I'm a frequent guest on that channel, so check him out. Give him some love.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but I think that I guess where I was going with this back to Book is I do like this because,
Mm.
but I also it makes me sad because I think that maybe Book and Burnham are broke up for good, or maybe Burnham's gonna adopt Maul as well. Maybe Book and Burnham will get back together and like maybe they can be a family of sorts. I don't know what is going on, but I am intrigued by it.
Yeah, I mean, look, adopting Maul. I mean, she's a little bit too old for that, but yeah. Also, I really hope that Booker already kind of did it because he told Culver, but I really hope that he actually tells Michael his connection to Maul and he doesn't freaking hide it because the fact that he was unable to communicate with Burnham last season really ticked me off.
Jill asked, "Do people adopt adults?" Yeah, I feel like I've been adopted in my adulthood by people who treat me like another son. Perhaps maybe they're missing, or another child. Maybe I maybe I just give off that energy if I need help, and so I feel like families keep, as we know, we have our biological families, but we also have our found families. So you kind of adopt people into your found family, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that there's this thing in society where like you said, you have the family that you were born into, but that's not necessarily the family that you choose to spend your time with, or the family that raises you and is able to show you your own magic and is able to show you your own self-worth. So it is possible that Maul can be sort of become a part of uh, become a part of the Federation family or become a part of Booker's family in that type of way. But what I was talking about was the more traditional route. Like Maul is too old to be officially adopted by Cleveland Booker. Come on, there's only so much disbelief that I can um, take with that.
Well, we're coming up to an hour and a half almost, so let's kind of go into the finale of this episode and kind of we have 1 out of 5 pieces found. where are we going next, and what do you think's going? What do you think the progenitor device is going to be like? And do you have any speculation or thoughts on that? And how are you feeling about the chase, so to speak, that we're on?
I think the adventure that we're on is pretty cool. I really hope that in the next couple episodes, the writers handle the search for these objects in a really interesting way, because what I don't want it to be is I don't want the final season to be one drawn out mystery of, oh my god, how did we talk to the 10C, or how did we figure out what the burn is? Because I do think in previous seasons Discovery has lagged a little bit in the middle with unpacking the giant mystery box. So if Discovery can find a way to keep it exciting, to keep up the pace while collecting these clues, I think it'll be a race to the finish. Also, I think that this device is going to be able to do a lot of things, not just potentially heal some people from a
Well,
disease that they might have.
Stamets was talking about potentially resurrecting
Right.
dead people. What
Wait,
are the
wait a
implications of
minute.
that?
Wait a
Oh, go
minute.
ahead.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Resurrecting dead people and going back in the past. And if they go back in the past, you know who they're gonna go get? They're gonna I bet you they're gonna go get Prime Giorgio. If they do that, I will
Ooh,
lose my mind.
you
If
will
they
lose your
do
mind.
that, I will lose my mind.
I mean,
Because
could the progenitor device save Pike from his fate, bring him into the 32nd century? There's all kinds of
oh,
interesting
that's
things.
yeah, I mean, that's a little bit too much. But PJ did make a note that in the previously on section, or on the commercial for this season on Star Trek Discovery, you do see what appears to be the Enterprise in one shot.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. But sorry if you guys don't like to see what's that, but they gave like this cool little this season on Discovery. I
Right.
don't think that's the Enterprise, Marcel. I think that's the Defiant.
Okay. Okay.
There's a
Okay.
mirror universe symbol on a readout on the interior.
Oh,
So I
oh,
think that's the mirror Defiant. I think that's the Defiant coming through some anomaly or something is my guess. That's my guess on that.
okay.
Um,
We'll find out.
but in the in the chat, I thought Joel said something really funny, which was next episode they have to find 3 stones hidden in a mine, lots of mine cards. Shiva Linga, you must bring Shiva Linga. You must bring progenitor device. Very nice reference to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Uh,
Yeah. You must
um,
drink Sheba. Yeah, no. Cupid. No. Oh god. Mm. The Temple of Doom is possibly the most terrifying Indiana Jones movie ever, but I love it.
It is pretty terrifying.
Come
So
on.
where we actually are going next is to Trill next week, so that's gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. What about you? What are you hoping to see? What do you think of Gray? I don't remember if you like the character of
Yeah,
Gray and
yeah, no,
all
I
that stuff.
look, the character of Gray was a really great opportunity that I feel that the writers from Discovery sort of botched, because they could have done some really cool stuff with Gray and and their partner. And the fact that they kind of sort of made this cool story line from for him about getting a robot body or a golem or whatever how they called it, and then they sort of sideline him, and then they sort of like to get him out of the way, they sort of said, oh, he's going to go back to Trill to learn how to be a better individual. Was like, oh, come on, guys, you introduced the character, use him effectively, but they didn't do that. So
Amy's like, "Oh, I forgot to watch the Ready Room. That's next." I haven't watched it yet either, so I'm excited. And I see in the chats there's some really sweet moments in it, so I'm excited to see it. And Jill's like watched it twice already, so
yeah,
um, looking
I have
forward to
not
that.
seen it yet either.
Jill says it sounds like Adira is a bit relieved that Gray is away based on the dialogue. Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
Adira something's going on there. So yeah, maybe we'll get a resolution to that next week. So
yeah,
um well, this was so much fun, Marcelo. I really appreciate you coming on here. These morning chats are kind of fun. Start your day with Trek, right?
yeah.
So
It's quite good.
we'll be back actually next week. Let me just pull something up because one of these weekends coming up. Let me see. Next week, I won't be doing the discussion live. Maybe Marcelo, if you we'll
A
talk
pre-record.
offline, but we'll be doing a pre-recorded discussion of the episode, but we'll be back live hopefully the following week. I had some things that I couldn't clear on my Friday schedule. And then, yes, Joel, there will be an animated series discussion tomorrow. Oops, sorry. An animated discussion series tomorrow. Oh, wow. Everything's happening all at once. Let me just mute the fun. This is like an old landline. What? Okay, there we go. Yeah,
I
so
still have a
tomorrow we're going to be
landline at
talking
my
about the
house, so don't
animated
feel
series
bad.
at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Today at 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be talking with Trek on the Tube about the Lower Decks episode. What is it called? The something of the Caves of Vexilon, I think it is.
Yeah, the
Is it the
Caves of
Caves of Vexilon?
Exelon.
Yeah, the Vexilon. Yeah. So we'll be doing that at 5, and then tonight on Text Trek, Marcel will take over for a second.
Yeah. Tonight on Tex Trek and his crew will be doing a deep dive discussion into the 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery that we got yesterday, and also just in case, over on Boat Trek, we might be doing a live stream discussion around 7 p.m., possibly talking about these 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery. So there's a lot of um, good content coming your way if you do like these channels. Or there's a lot of good Star Trek slash content coming your way from Balloon Head Productions, Starfleet Boy Actual, Starfleet Boy After Dark. That's a little bit more racy, and yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff coming your way, guys. So
Yep. And did we chat
keep
out Text
your
Trek tonight at 8 on the
yes,
Text Trek channel?
yeah,
Okay, good. Okay.
yeah. I just did.
Sorry, I
I just
had
did.
to step away. It was
I
kind of
I
like
got
an
it.
urgent thing.
I got it. I got it.
But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.